Good afternoon. It is Mountain Dew teaching and learning through the Appalachian Trail. I'm going to introduce my guest for today. My name is Stacey Schneider. I am a associate professor of history here at Thomas Nelson Community College in Hampton, Virginia. I am embarking on a little bit of an adventure, and Thomas Nelson is nice enough to kind of send me out there. I'm going to get some help, though, from my friends. I've got a couple good friends on the line today. And they are going to give me their expertise. So let me tell you a little bit about the project, and then I'm going to introduce my podcast pals for today. My sister and I, Carrie, are going to hike the Appalachian Trail through Virginia. We're going to spend 30 days, all of October, out on the trail, 30 days and 30 nights walking, which kind of breaks out to about 15 miles a day. That's what our kind of target is. There might be some days that are a little more, some days that are a little less. Depending on weather. I'll tell you that up front is going to be the most challenging part. We're going to be kind of rookie hikers out there, and the mountainous terrain of Damascus and the Grayson Highlands are going to be the toughest part. So it's my sister. She is a year and a half younger than me, and me. We're out there. She is actually a physical therapist by profession. We'll have our two dogs out there, Kit and Teddy. They are going to join us for the trip. And we're going to see how this goes. And I'll tell you that kind of the inspiration for this project really was, I don't know, a lot of things kind of collided, right? We had COVID. I felt like getting outside became kind of a coping mechanism. So I just, in last March, started walking and walking and walking, I think just for my sanity. And then I kind of enjoyed it. We certainly are not hikers or campers. I think we had camped like one time in our backyard as we were kids. And I think my dad actually let us make a bonfire in the backyard. He was an Army Ranger, and he advised my sister to put a rock near the fire to get it warm, and then put it in her sleeping bag, and it would keep her warm all night. And she still has the scar on her leg from where she scorched herself. So like, we are really probably not that good at this. So here's the deal. I am relying on my friends here at Thomas Nelson Community College. They know lots of things, right? And so today I am super, super privileged to have a couple of my favorite people on the podcast. I have Assistant Professor Michelle Alexander. She's an assistant professor in the health science program. She teaches public health. She also teaches Health 230, Nutrition and Human Development, and that's certainly the foundations for that class are going to help me out on the trail. And she is going to help me kind of guide me through what should I be eating, nutritional concerns. So we'll get to her in just a second. And then we also have VBH, Dr. Valerie Burge-Hall. She is an associate professor in health sciences, and she is going to help me with my stress management. So they're both experts. We also might be joined later. I can't guarantee it. She's in another meeting, and she'll try to pop on if she can. But Megan Hill, who teaches here at Thomas Nelson, she teaches Health 106. First aid, which, you know, that's the kind of thing I hope I don't need her, but I want the knowledge just in case I do. She also happens to be our cheerleading coach, and I might need her for that too. I might need a little pep talk here as we go. But anyway, so say hi, ladies.
Hey, everybody. I'm happy to be here.
Valerie, you on?
Hi, it's Valerie, and I'm thrilled as well. I'm excited to be a part of this adventure.
Okay, good. Okay, so I don't know who would like to start. First of all, let me ask, can I lead off with, how crazy do you think I am to do this? Either one of you can answer that.
Oh, I'll happily take this. This is Michelle. I don't necessarily think you're crazy. I think you're adventurous, Stacey. You've always been adventurous in everything that you do. And so I think it is an enormous task. But if anybody is up for it, it's going to be you. And I just think that you have done an amazing job of harnessing the power of Thomas Nelson and your friends here to get you through it.
I had to leverage every friendship I have. And you guys still have to like me after this. After this, you still have to like me.
I, Stacey, am just in awe, first and foremost, because I love people who find a challenge and they look for ways to overcome it. And so this is something that you have not done before. It's not something that's part of your normal routine. So it's a stretch goal, it's a challenge, but definitely you're up to the challenge. I concur with everything Michelle said. I don't think you're Great. Well, okay. I think you're more adventurous. How about that? I think you're more adventurous than having anything else. And so I'm really honored to be a part of the project, but more importantly, you're inspiring me to look at like, well, what's my next challenge goal going to be?
Oh, Valerie Burge-Hall. That is going to be one of my questions.
Won't be hiking though.
You too,
I can
Michelle.
tell you that right now.
Do you already know what you want? Do you already know your next challenge or no?
Are you talking to me or Michelle?
Oh, yeah. I mean, either one. Val, do you know what yours is or no?
Yeah, I don't. Right now, the first thing that's popping in my head is to learn to speak Spanish. That's something that I've always done, and I have not really spoken Spanish unless we're talking about food. Then I can learn to speak.
Oh, see, Valerie. Okay, look, I'm going to tell you this. I had lots of conversations, right? Because here's the deal. I'm going to be teaching the entire time that I'm out there. I don't get, a month off to go do this. So I'm going to be teaching the whole time. But I was really thankful because this is something that I wanted to do. I think I'm one of those people that, I'm 45 now, and I know that there are things that I'm good at, and there are things that I'm not afraid to say that I don't know how to do. And so this is one of them. So I really am trying to learn how to do this. And it is kind of this amazing challenge. And Dr. English was really open to it. And she thought, like, this is really cool. And she thought this could be something kind of in perpetuity, where it challenges faculty to be lifelong learners and to come up with these goals. And if the college can help, she is more than willing to have the college help. And Valerie, I am the trip planner of epic proportions. I will design a trip on a dime, right? I'm a budget world traveler. I could totally see you taking this up next. You learn Spanish, and then we go to Spain or Puerto Rico, or we're going to go somewhere, and you're going to put it into practice. How about that?
Yes.
Valerie, you down with that?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Okay, good. I'm already thinking about it, working on it. Michelle, do you have a what's next?
I love it.
Well,
Let's think about how we can do this.
Okay, I'm on it already. I'm on it.
Well, what I love about this, and I don't know that I have my what's next other than my immediate goal, which is to learn how to navigate this world of pandemic virtual learning, both for myself and my children. But what I love about what you're doing is Valerie and I teach wellness, and we teach our students how to set goals for themselves. And we are always pushing our students to think about how they can enhance their wellness and set a goal. And it's not just an assignment, right? It's like something we want them to do and do well and actually implement. And so you are modeling this, right? We should be modeling that. We should be always looking to how we can improve and set goals. And being, a professor of wellness and looking at a holistic approach, I think that that's one of the ways that we are continually well physically and emotionally, is that we are setting goals and trying new things. So again, you're like modeling everything that we teach our students to do.
Okay, well, I hope I don't crash and burn.
Well, that's why we're here, right?
Okay, good. Yeah, you guys are going to get me through. Let me tell you this, and I'll tell you this because, it's two of my favorite women on the podcast today. I'll tell you, I think it is something, I don't know if it's a midlife crisis. I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know what it is. It was a collision of a couple things, but one of the things really was, and I'm going to confess this, I am now 45. And I have to tell you, I look in the mirror and I'm not 27 anymore. Nobody prepares you for what this feels like, right? Getting older. In my head, I still look 27, but then you look in the mirror and I've got crow's feet. My schedule of how often do I have to get my hair dyed has like amped up a little bit. I'm getting grayer every day, right? And so I think honestly, part of it is less about what my body looks like and more about what can it do, right? And it's a real challenge of, this is going to be hard. I think people think that I think we're going to be, picking daisies and skipping on the trail. I know how hard this is going to be. We practiced, we kind of trained for it. It's really hard, but I just kind of wanted to test, something realistic, not like, can you fly? Something realistic of what can my body at 45, what can it still do? And I want to appreciate it in a new way for all the things that it can do. So I don't know if that's in the spirit of kind of health and wellness, but for me, I think that's a kind of a big part of it, right?
It absolutely fits that spirit, right? And so, of course, that's what we're going to talk about today, right? How you can help your body to perform at its optimal best.
Well, I'm going to let you take it away then, Michelle, because you are right there. So I would give me some things that I would learn in Health 230 about nutrition and wellness. I am a little concerned, I will tell you. For the first time today, it's been like Christmas, right? It's been the greatest because I order all these cool things and I do the research and Amazon drops it off at my house. And I had my kitchen table piling up with all the stuff that I needed. And then today I literally took everything out of the boxes and I was practicing with stuff and I had to get it in the pack. And I thought, yikes. So there were hard decisions about what goes in, what goes out, right? And so my sister and I together did make a decision, I will say. And some people don't. Some people choose to eat cold the entire time. But I just really want a cup of coffee in the morning and maybe some oatmeal or something. I feel like food is so comforting. It's one of those things that I feel like it's deprivation all the way around. And you're walking and hiking, 15 miles a day and you're sleeping on the ground. And I'm okay with that, but I need a cup of coffee. So I will tell you that the food is one of the bulkiest, heaviest items. And so we're definitely kind of thinking about that, but it's also, I have read that you can burn 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 calories a day. And so I want to know how to fuel my body and come out of this and feel good about the hike. So what do I need? I guess, what do I need to pack?
Right. So, that's the key, right? Is that unless you eat well throughout this adventure, you won't fuel your body. You'll be burning way too much energy and you'll find yourself fatigued. So, what we learn in Health 230 is kind of what are the basic foundation of a healthy eating pattern that helps to kind of dispel the myths that we hear, in our society, right? That we need a lot of high protein and carbohydrates are bad for us. And one of the very first things that I teach my students is the idea that carbohydrate is your primary source of energy. And for you, it is like the key nutrient that you need to make sure that you're getting, because that is the nutrient that's going to fuel you throughout the day. So, when I hear you say that you're going to make sure that you pack and you can have your oatmeal, that's great, because that's a whole grain, energy fueled breakfast that gets you started in the morning. But that's, minimal, right? So
Right.
As much as you can pack what we call nutrient dense foods. So these are foods that have a lot of nutrients and provide you with the energy, but they're not sort of the empty calories. So for example, granola bars are a great thing to pack on a hike, but you have to really carefully choose those granola bars, right? Because you don't want to choose the ones that are really high in added sugar, because that's going to be empty calories and might give you some quick fuel for the first, hour of your hike. But you're going to find that you have that carb crash, an hour or so in, because your body's already processed that sugar. So you have to kind of choose things that are, one, going to give you the energy you need, but also give you the sustainability to feel that fullness until your next meal. So, a granola bar that mixes some carbohydrate along with like a little bit of fat and protein is going to then provide your body with more of that feeling of fullness and that energy,
Okay.
until you get to the next meal.
Do you have a favorite brand, by the way, without giving them a free plug, but do you have a favorite?
Yeah, well, I'll never really plug brands, but I like the brands that are minimal on the added sugar, but have some of that mix. So like I currently really like Kind bars, right? Because they taste really great. They have a good message, and they have that good mix of items. So that's going to be much better for you.
So it seems like the Kind bar has like the protein of nuts. It's kind of nut based, right? But it has a little bit of fat. It usually has like chocolate or like dark chocolate or something else in there, right?
And then it has the whole grains, and you need those grains, right, for that energy, versus something like a cereal bar. So like a Nutri-Grain bar or some kind of off-brand cereal bar, that's going to give you some carbohydrate energy, but it's got a lot of added sugar in it, and it's not going to provide you. I tell my students all the time, like, if you're just going to eat a bowl of Fruit Loops and milk in the morning, you're going to crash in an hour, because your body processes that sugar rather quickly, versus if you're adding in that oatmeal with some nuts. Right? You are going to feel sustained more. And your biggest challenge is going to be eating enough, because yes, the food takes up a lot in your pack, but eating enough, so that carbohydrate is important, but so is the protein. So, like some lean sources of protein, there's a lot of mixed feelings out there about things like protein supplements and protein shakes. Those are not something I would recommend to somebody on a normal basis. Mm-hmm. But when we're talking about maybe, something that you can take easily, I wouldn't go more than, one kind of those shakes a day. And they're not meant to give you the energy, right? That's meant to be like after a long part of the hike, when your body's feeling fatigued, your muscles are feeling fatigued, you get a little bit of high quality protein that helps to build up and replace that muscle fiber.
Okay, that makes sense. That completely makes sense. And I think there's some powder-based ones that if you mix with water, so it's a little bit lighter than
Yeah, I would not rely on them solely, because the problem is if you get way too much protein and not enough carbohydrate, your body resorts to converting protein to energy, and then it's not using that protein for the things that you really need to. So protein builds our muscles, it helps with our immune defenses. Being out there on the trail for as long as you are, you want to make sure that your immune system is functioning effectively. If you happen to get a cut, you don't want to be in a position where your body's using protein for energy and therefore it delays your wound healing. I always make my students watch that, and not that you're doing this, but I always make my students watch that show Naked and Afraid because it is such a great lesson in how our body uses food, and how if we don't fuel properly, then we can be susceptible to the elements of our environment much more significantly than if we were fueling ourselves. I never thought about that,
but every time I've seen that show, you're right. As they go on and they're like emaciated and they haven't eaten right, bug bites turn into like a huge bacterial infection.
Yeah, because they're mainly just eating protein. And so the body's converting that protein to energy, and it's breaking down, they lose muscle mass because the body is breaking down the protein for energy and not using it the way it should be. And so, they get sick, and you'll never watch that show again the same when you look at it from the standpoint. I always tell, and this is something to think about, don't think that you need to be fully fit and lean starting out on this journey, because when you watch those people, when you watch those people, the ones that step out and they look fully fit and lean, I'm like, they're tapping out in 5 days because they have no fat storage in their bodies. Right?
I was born for this. I am ready.
Your body needs to be prepared to perform. It needs to be, again, like you've said, it's not about how our bodies look, it's about how they perform. And if you're fueling it correctly, you will last way longer on that trail than someone else.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, and I have, it really will make you crazy with, diet nutrition fluctuations, right? It really is interesting and there are fads that go in and out and in and out. And right now I know people are all about protein. How much protein do you really need? Because everyone is protein. And I think, is that kind of over the top?
It is. Now, majority of Americans already get more than enough protein than what they need. You need anywhere from 10 to 35% of your calories on any given day coming from protein. Now, someone who is like a plant-based vegetarian who's not eating a lot of meat, they may be more on that 10%. Okay. And then, our athletes, they may be on the upper end of that. The other way you can look at it is that most adults need about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. When we add in for our athletes, that ends up being more like 1.2 to 1.7 grams per kilogram of body weight. So, you are going to need a little bit more protein than the average adult so that your body performs the way it should on the trail. Okay. But the key there is that has to be paired with sufficient carbohydrate and fat intake so the body uses each nutrient appropriately.
Let me ask you this, Michelle. So I am not a huge meat eater. I'm really not. So I guess that's a little bit of a concern. What are some good foods that I can pack and take with me that'll still give me the protein I need, but I don't eat that much meat?
Yeah, well, and meat's not really kind of an easy thing to do on a trail, right? So
Right.
the great thing is that as long as you're eating a variety of plant-based proteins, you're still going to get the essential nutrients that you need. So that we have proteins are amino acids, and there are 9 essential amino acids that our body needs. And as long as you eat a variety of plant-based proteins throughout the day, those proteins combine to create that complete protein. It's called complementary proteins, and vegetarians talk about that a lot. So, like things like nuts and legumes and other plant-based sources of protein, as long as you're eating a variety and you're not just sticking to your peanut butter and jelly every day, you're going to make sure that you get the protein that you need. Although peanut butter and jelly is a good one for the trail with some whole grain bread. It's going to give you some good energy, and then the peanut butter gives you a portion. And if you pair that with a whole grain bread, you're getting a complete protein.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a really great one on the trail. Like I said, nuts and seeds and legumes, those are great. You don't have to necessarily eat meat. Now, one of the problems without eating meat is, right, that we don't necessarily get enough iron. And there is iron in plant-based protein, but our body doesn't absorb it as easily as the meat. And we know that if we don't get enough iron, then you feel fatigued and you might feel weak. So if you pair your plant-based protein with a citrus, like on orange or some other vitamin C source, then it will help your body to absorb that iron, and then you won't necessarily feel fatigued for the lack of, iron absorption.
Are you an advocate? So I take one at home. I take kind of just a very general multivitamin every day, and I was planning on continuing that on the trail. Are you an advocate of kind of just a well-rounded multivitamin?
I think a multivitamin is okay for most people, as long as we treat it as a supplement, right? It's meant to supplement, not replace your nutrients. And I think it probably would maybe be helpful for you on the trail. I wouldn't advocate, and I never advocate for anybody, individual vitamin supplementation, except for certain people. But, a multivitamin isn't going to hurt you. But again, it should just meant to be. Nothing will replace the whole foods that you eat on the trail. And if you're going to take your multivitamin on the trail, then make sure you take it with a meal so that your body fully absorbs those nutrients.
Okay. All right, Michelle, let me ask you this. I have to take, it's still me, so I have to take, all this is great. I got to take a couple cheat items, I feel like. What items can I take that are better, not worse? What about, let's just say, how about Nutella? Nutella on the trail? That's okay, right?
Sure. Okay. So here's my philosophy. My students hear this from me all the time. All foods fit in a moderate diet. I will never say that we have good and bad foods. One of my challenges, when I think the problem with that, is if you assign a moral to a food, then you assign a moral to yourself. And we all know, especially women, that we can make ourselves feel horrible because I ate a bad food and now I'm a bad person, right?
Yes.
So there are no good or bad foods. There are foods that are incredibly healthy. There are foods that are unhealthy. There are foods that are incredibly unhealthy. But in a moderate diet, meaning when the majority of our food is whole nutrient dense foods, we can absolutely have those cheats, right? So what would be good ones? I mean, yes, your Nutella, because especially if you spread that on some whole grain bread. I mean, I am the mom in my house that said Nutella is not breakfast, but if you want to cheat, a hazelnut spread and Nutella spread, or like dark chocolate, because we all know that chocolate, anything, and like dark chocolate Hershey bars, I mean, they are my go-to, right? Because you can just take a few little bites. I mean, even when we look at athletes, I ran the Richmond Half Marathon a couple of years ago. And my favorite part about the Richmond Half Marathon is mile 7, because it's the junk food station. And they literally are handing out like pieces of Snickers and pieces of chocolate and candy corn to give you some quick fuel. So if you are hitting a point on the trail where you're feeling a little dragged down, have a few of those like quick carbohydrates, or even a couple pieces of chocolate, because that can kind of give you a little pick me up.
Okay. And I think I'll try a combo here. So I'm going to make my own. In Girl Scouts way back when, it was called Gorg, but I think now they call it trail mix. But I think I'm going to do my own with some cashews and some granola, and I was going to do some dried fruits and maybe a little bit of dark chocolate.
Oh, I think that's awesome. There's so many great recipes for like homemade granola and homemade, homemade trail mixes that you can absolutely add that dark chocolate pieces in.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I am a little worried too. I will tell you, I really am a fresh fruit and veggie addict. And like summer is my favorite time because you can get cantaloupe and tomatoes and corn and all that good stuff. Um, it's hard to come by. So canned foods are too heavy to carry. So you don't generally have, canned fruits and vegetables. And it's kind of a dearth of fruits and vegetables out there. Are there any good tips for how to get in some fruits and vegetables without? I found Trader Joe's has a really good freeze dried section. What are your tips on that?
Well, so freeze dried, particularly fruits, can be great because they are actually packed with nutrients because they are freeze dried at the point of like optimal nutrient content. Dried fruits, you just have to kind of watch the added sugar content, but there are several like varieties of dried fruits out there that you can, add into your trail mix or just eat, like dried banana chips that are not incredibly high in added sugar. When you're not going to be able to get the fresh fruits and veggies, then you got to go for those kind of pre-packaged items. The good news is that according to, the dietary guidelines, those still count towards your fruit and vegetable content for the day. They're not what we would say you should do on a daily basis, but you have to do anything you can do to get that in. And then, harness the power of friends and help. And you said your dad's going to be like joining you guys during the day. So as much as you can make him like try to scout out getting you guys, like having a banana every day would be awesome if he could like find a place and bring those in. And when people come, like make them bring you your fruits and vegetables that you like, things that, like celery sticks and carrots that you can't necessarily pack with you all the time, but maybe, people can bring to you.
That is a fabulous idea. Yeah, guest hikers are certainly welcome, but the ticket for admission might be, you might have to bring me a food item. Although Lucinda, the chemistry teacher who was on with us last week, she has promised steaks and wine. So come, whenever she's coming, if you guys want to join me, come on. Whatever day Lucinda comes, that might be the day you want to come.
That's great. I'll bring some bananas.
Oh my God. If you come and bring me bananas, Michelle Alexander, I'm going to leave you in the woods. Although bananas and Nutella could be good. I could slather that with some Nutella. That could be pretty good.
Bananas and Nutella or bananas and peanut butter, great pick-me-up snack.
Really? Okay. That might be, yes, that might take me out of
Other thing that I would tell you is when you're snacking, like I always tell my students, like make sure that you're not just doing like one food group, right? So like a banana and peanut butter is better for you. It provides you more nutrients and more energy than just the banana by itself. So I always say a great snack has at least 2 food groups. A great meal has at least 3.
That is a good tip. I'm going to carry that for a lifetime. That's good stuff. I would love that. So if I took Health 230, this is the kind of wisdom, these are the gems you would drop?
These are the gems I drop every week to my students.
They are lucky students. That's fabulous. I honestly feel like I have that's a little reassuring, right? Because I don't think I'm looking for perfection. And that seems to be what you're saying. It's not perfection. It really is about balance, moderation, a little bit of everything, and 30 days is a long time, so there's no bad foods, good foods. It's just food.
Well, and the last thing that I would say is that a tip would be to maybe, and I know internet is going to be spotty and you never know, but if you have some sort of app like MyFitnessPal or even there's the MyPlate app, it might be helpful to kind of track what you're eating and track your level of exercise before you get to the point where you're feeling fatigued and realize that you're not eating enough. There are a lot of apps out there that can, that on your phone that are tracking your activity. And then if you add in your food, it can kind of help you get a feel for how many calories you need to, sustain that energy.
Okay. I've heard, and so I've read books and listened to podcasts about people who have hiked the trail. And I'll tell you, they say, the first day, you're starving all day, like you have hiker hunger. And the second day you might be hungry. And by the third day, you're so tired, you're ready to go to bed and not eat. Like you just don't even care anymore. So we'll see. So I'm wondering how that's going to be for me. Am I going to be starving and like ravenous, or is there going to be a switch over where I'm like, oh, I'm so tired, I don't even want to eat? Because then that's a different challenge when you don't feel like it and you have to eat anyway.
It is, and that's kind of we can thank our ancestors for that, right? We have this primitive mechanism in the body that allowed our ancestors to live in times of feast and famine.
Mhm.
And so the body kind of held on to the things so that it can survive. And it's why people can fast and they can do okay. And, they can fast for days on end for cultural or religious reasons. You're going to have to really listen to your body when you're on the trail. And even when you don't feel like eating, remember that you have to fuel it every single day.
Got it. Okay. That is fabulous help. That's going to help with my stress management, which brings me to my next guest. Valerie, Dr. Burge-Hall, are you there?
I'm present and accounted for. I was taking notes during that entire time. So when I hike down the street, I'll know exactly what to do.
Wasn't that fascinating? I learned so much.
It really is. And I love the idea that there are no bad foods, there are no good foods, and they're just foods. And so that was exciting. And I loved also that you asked about cheat days, because I think too many times we have these rigid rules for ourselves and we're not living, we're just existing. And so you're going to have those moments that you're going to need them. And especially when we're talking about stress management, we'll have those moments that we need those pick-me-ups. So I was glad that you already have your plan with your Nutella for that.
That's my emergency break glass Nutella. That's what I'll have.
Yes. And then just having those happy thoughts of Lucinda coming out with her treats, that will also be one of those things that helps you with stress management.
Okay, wait, but Val, can I put you on the spot? Are you going to come visit me on the trail?
Probably not.
You're the first person who's told me no, honestly.
And it's not because I don't want to. If I have, no. I mean, because this is my thing. For me, I'm very much into having an experience that I haven't had before, because you never know if you're going to like something unless you try something. And so I think that this is great. I would have to look at schedules, at home, and especially being a stay-at-home virtual teacher.
I know.
But, maybe one of the weekends, if there's some availability, I might be able to sneak up there.
Those kids might be driving you nuts, though. This could be a way to run away to the woods. And you can manage your stress with me. We'll take it out on the trail.
Yeah, that sounds fun. And
I will make you this offer. I will trade you. So I know this is not necessarily your comfort zone, right?
Right.
This is not, you're not dying to do this, but I would trade you an experience. If you would try this with me, you pick something of comparable, commitment, and I would try that with you, even if it's not my thing.
Okay. All right.
Is it right? We're old enough. We're allowed to try new things.
And we should. That's a part of growth. And so, yeah, we'll see what we can work out.
Okay, you think of whatever you want. You can teach me to crochet. You can, I don't know, whatever you do, I'm down. I don't know. Tap dance. I'll take tap dance lessons with you. You think of something, and I'll do it.
We will work on that. All right.
So
well, we're already talking about the trip to Spain. So
I can make that happen, and and Michelle will be in. Look, we'll gang up on Susan about that one.
Yes, that sounds fabulous.
All right, so give me some more stress. Manage my stress for me, Val. It's going to be stressful out there. Tell me what I need to do.
It will. The first thing when I was thinking about what would keep me motivated for 30 days in an environment that I'm pushing my body to the limit. Of course, nutrition is important. Also, getting your sleep at night is going to be very important. 7 to 9 hours is what we usually recommend. And so you're going to need to do that. But the thing that I thought about is when I would be having that darkest moment and I'm like, this was a dumb idea. I don't know why I thought I could do it. I was like, I need an anchor. So that's the first thing I would tell you to do. Find your anchor. And so is your anchor this idea that this is something that you and your sister and your dad have always dreamt about doing? Is this your anchor to say, you know what, I may be 45, but I still have it? What is that one thing that is going to drive you? And write it down. Don't just think about it. Write it down. If it's a picture that you need to carry with you in your bag, but just having that anchor, because that's going to keep you motivated on those times that you won't feel like pressing on.
Okay, Val, the funniest thing you just said was, you're 45, but you still have it. I'm 45, but I'm not sure I ever had it. I think my sister is going to be, I really am hoping, honestly. So my sister is 18 months younger than me. We are, exceptionally close. We're very much alike. And so I'm kind of hoping we're anchors for each other. When one of us, I just hope we don't kind of have a breakdown at the same time. So I'm hoping when I have a weak moment, she's going to be there to say, come on, Stacey, we can do it. We can do it. And I hope when she falters and misses her kids and wants to go home and is tired of wet feet, that I'll be able to say, come on, Carrie, we're going to do this. We can do it. And I'll tell you, I always tell this, I've told the story before, but I will say that, a couple of years ago, I have an adult son, and he was going off to college. And I was remembering when I went to JMU and I was going off to college, and my dad gave me this really good advice, and it kind of shaped who I am, I think. And so I was going to impart this to my son, Tori, right? And so he's, we're packing the car and we're getting ready to go. And I said, Tori, Grandpa told me this, and it has impacted, every decision I've made my entire life. And I really hope that this helps you. And I said, Grandpa sat me down before I left, and he said, look, we're not the best looking. You're never going to be the funniest person in the room. There's always going to be somebody smarter than you, but we're Schneiders and we work the hardest. And I was so proud of that we're hard workers, right? So I tell this to Tori, and like, that's been my whole life, humble, but really work hard and pull your load with the team. And my son, who at the time was 18, looks up at me with like these questioning brown eyes. And he says to me with complete seriousness, and he goes, what are you talking about? I'm good looking. And so for me, that's been my anchor my whole life, is that we work hard. We are, tough Schneider girls, and we are going to toe the line, and we will walk the walk, and we're going to test ourselves. And it's going to be hard, but sometimes it's just good to do hard things. So for me, that kind of thought is what the anchor is. And I'm counting on my sister, and I think she's counting on me. And I think we're going to kind of compel each other and motivate each other to keep going, and there are going to be moments where we want to stop. We want to quit. And I think we both realize that's coming. And so I think that's the anchor. You think that'll work?
Yes, but what I would suggest that you do, you write it down.
Okay.
Both of you write it down,
okay.
So that at some point when you have to look back exactly what your dad has just given you, those words of wisdom that have carried you throughout. Write it down and have a picture of that moment, that so that you can go right back to that very second and say, yes, I embrace this. This is who I am. We're strong. We're going to overcome.
Okay.
Something else I would suggest is, I know you don't have a lot of room, but if you can find a little tiny notebook, journaling is amazing.
Okay.
So you may be so super tired. Maybe you do this before you start off your day, as far as like, hey, what am I expecting throughout the day? If you're doing it in the evening, you can always put things of gratitude. I was glad that I didn't trip when, there's this part of the trail that a lot of people slip and fall. I didn't do that. Whatever it is, gratitude is a huge anchor as well, and a huge motivator. So I would say journaling would be one of those things.
That's a super tip. You know what? And even if it is a couple extra ounces, I will take a journal.
Yay. And then when you're starting, after 6 months and you've forgotten what happened on day 15 when you and your sister were laughing hysterically, when you're having one of those moments, then you can say, you know what, I need to laugh. And so you'll remember that moment because you've written it down.
Okay. That's a good tip. To be honest with you, it was almost the personal side of this, I guess, this journey, I don't know, had gone a little bit by the wayside because I am a little bit stressed, not so much about, there are lots of things to be stressed about, right? But it's also my professional obligation to teaching and then blogging, and, a lot of that is it. So I was really thinking of, I'll be writing, then I'll be grading papers, and I'll be writing the blog, and so I do think it's important for me to jot down just a couple personal notes. Hopefully they don't bleed over into the
10
blog.
minutes.
So
You can take
completely nuts.
Well, you'll have it. You will have a written record of it, and it will be out of you. So that's the key with that. That's the key with that.
Well, that's comforting. All right, what else? How else can I manage my stress? So we talked a little bit about,
also,
yeah.
Just one thing that even when I started looking at camping and that kind of stuff, even though it may not be my thing, it really does have benefits. You're going to be exercising, which means that that's also going to help eliminate some of your stress because you're simply getting moving. It's probably going to help you think a lot better because oxygen is going to be, circulating because of course you're going to be doing deep breaths and things of that nature. So all of the things that you're doing for your body will actually benefit your mind. And if your mind is in the right place, it's also going to impact your body.
Okay. I mean, I'm definitely trying to go into this with the right spirit, right? Like I want a spirit of gratitude. I'm thankful for the time off. I'm thankful for the time of, hiking with my family. So anyway, okay. So I'll go into us with a grateful spirit.
Yep. Those things are awesome. And you'll also notice that you're going to have a happy hormone called serotonin that's going to really be present. And so there are going to be times when you think you can't make it and you're just going to get this burst of energy like I can. It may be after your sister reminds you, we're Schneider women, we don't quit, but you're going to do it. And so I think those things will help you because you're going to be doing the things that physically will help you not fall into a slump mentally. I think those things are great. Being connected to nature, that is a huge part of stress management. So it's going to be awesome.
Okay.
On one side,
I've taken the sleep component of that. I've taken very seriously. My sleeping bag came yesterday, and I got it out of the box, and I jumped in it. I wanted to make sure it was comfortable. I have like a sleeping pad for underneath, and my one, I think, really splurge comfort item is going to be a pillow. It's a small travel pillow, but I just feel like sleep is so important. It's one of the very few things that's going to be pure enjoyment.
But it's
being able to go to sleep.
Yes, and so you'll have your pet there too. Both of your pets will be there. So pet support is huge when you're looking at managing your stress. So I think you're doing all the right things. It's just I'm trying to plan for those moments when you feel like you're going to crash and burn. What can you have there? If you have a list of affirmations that you can just kind of glue it to the front of your notebook, that may be something too, like I am strong, I'm a Schneider woman, I'm an overcomer, I'm wise. Those kinds of things, because you might have to start saying that when you're going up that hill. Or
okay, if that still doesn't work, Val, am I allowed to call you in the midst of a freak out?
Absolutely. I will talk you off of that ledge. My pleasure.
And how about this? Seriously, think about if you want to come spend a day. I know it's schedule contingent, but I promise you, I will trade some uncomfortable, terrible experience that I don't want to do. I will trade that with you. Okay, so just keep it in mind. I won't pressure you, but if you feel like it's something you want to try, let me know.
Yes. Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind.
All right. Just Thank you. Okay. All right. Okay. We have the third guest star who has just appeared here. Megan Hill, are you there?
I am here. How are you?
Oh, it's so nice to have you. I haven't met you before. It's so nice. So Valerie roped you into this, huh?
She did. So, I'm coming live from my office.
Live from your office. So I don't know if you've heard about this, Megan, but just the really kind of short of it is I am going to hike with my sister 30 days in October. We're not really hikers. We're not really campers, but we're going to do 30 days on the Appalachian Trail through Virginia. And Thomas Nelson has helped me the whole way. They really are kind of teaching me. I'm new to this. I really, we don't exactly know what we're doing, but Thomas Nelson really has kind of encouraged us to be lifelong learners, kind of taught us along the way kind of the skills that we'll need. So today, obviously, Valerie is teaching about stress management and kind of how to get through those tricky times on the trail. Michelle was kind enough to talk about nutrition and wellness and how important that is. And you, my friend, are going to give me a little bit of advice on first aid, right? And you teach here for us. You teach Health 106. First aid course. And then I have heard also, which is probably just as valuable to me, you are also our cheerleading coach here.
I am. So we might have to send you a video cheer since we're about to start virtual tryouts soon.
I would love it. And I will watch it and I will need it probably. I can be assured that there might be a moment that I need a little cheer.
I like that idea. So I'll definitely, once we pick the squad, we'll work on that and we'll send you a video to give you some motivation.
I love it. So there are some things that I've kind of thought of, but I bet you're going to tell me a bunch of things I haven't thought of when it comes to first aid. I have tried to be really smart, and I've done practice hikes, and we've been training for this over the summer. And so I've broken in the shoes that I'm going to wear. I've picked socks that are not going to give me blisters. Obviously I'm packing a first aid kit. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm trying to make kind of smart choices like that. I'm going to trek with poles just to avoid trips and spills, hopefully. What else? Give me some first aid advice about, the bare bones things that I need to think about out on the trail.
Well, those are some good things that you've already thought about. So definitely, I was going to ask if you were packing a first aid kit, since you were saying, I heard the whole, you're going to sneak a pillow in there. So I was going to make sure that first aid kit was in there.
I will not, I promise you, I will not bump the first aid kit for the pillow.
I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. And, most importantly, since you guys are going to be out there so long, most importantly is safety first, especially since you're outdoors. Just a couple of things as far as that. So in your first aid kit, we do definitely want to make sure that you have some kind of antiseptic wipes, your splints, your wraps, any kind of wound covering, insect repellent, or anything that you may need, medications that anyone may need, because I guess they were saying you were going with your family as well.
So yeah, my younger sister's going to hike with me the entire way, and then I think our dad is going to join us for part of the way in the Shenandoah Valley. So yeah.
Awesome. Great. And so those are some of the things you definitely want to have with you in your first aid kit. Medications like ibuprofen or aspirin, and then things based on if anyone has any allergies. So if you have someone who does have an allergy, making sure you have the epinephrine pen as well. Other things that you do want to consider would be your bites and stings. So being prepared for bites and stings. A lot of times when we are in the wilderness, especially in Virginia, certain spiders and snakes are indigenous to this area. So that's something that you want to be prepared for. Many times individuals who end up having complications due to snake bites, it's merely because they're away from getting adequate help. So that is something that you want to consider and always be on the lookout for. So definitely in the wilderness, making sure that we're looking out for different, animals, insects, and just being aware of what's going on and watching our step.
Okay.
So in the event of that, I know you were saying that you were going to take your walking sticks to kind of help with making sure that you're preventing any falls or trips. But in the event that a sprain or a strain does happen, you do want to make sure that you have proper supplies in order to splint them. So obviously with sprains, that has to deal with your, any torn ligaments or anything like that. Your strains has to deal with your tendons. So a lot of times when people are hiking, they may trip and hurt their ankle. So that's where your splinting supplies come in handy. And so with that, making sure that you have something adequate to wrap and keep the part stabilized and in place, or immobilized and in place. That way you can seek medical attention if it's to the point where it is very severe. I don't know, this may be a little old school, but the whole rice concept, so making sure that you have some ice packs available as well. So rice would be the rest, immobilize, and then cold, and then elevate. So meaning that what you want to do, obviously, if you end up having a sprain or a strain, you do want to rest. That might mean spending the night a little bit longer in the area in which you are. And then so ice, the I, would be for the cold. So that's where your cold pack, immobilized, that's where the they changed the acronym. So sometimes we have the old acronym and then we have the new acronym. So we are going through with the new acronym right now.
So ice is the I is immobilized?
Yes, they actually changed it.
Okay. I always thought it was ibuprofen, but maybe
that will help with the swelling. That definitely will help with the swelling.
Look, I ride horses, and so there are a bunch of adult riders up at my barn, and we always say like ibuprofen, it's what's for dinner. Like that, it is.
Especially as we get older, it fixes everything, right?
Yes, or if it doesn't fix it, it at least patches it up.
Exactly. That's the Band-Aid that we don't often think of. But with the change, the compression piece is what changed in the RICE acronym. And so what they were finding was that people were putting too much pressure on the injury. So that's why they switched it out for immobilized, which is keeping it, stable so that it's not moving. And then the C would be for the cold. That's where your ice comes into play, and then elevating. And you want to have it elevated to where it is above the heart and to the point where, it's not causing any further pain. So that is something that you would want to do for, your sprains and your strengths. Now, as far as the elements, you will be in the elements. So we do want to take into consideration environmental type emergencies. So dealing with heat and cold. So making sure that you stay adequately hydrated would be something that is going to be pertinent. How are you guys planning on getting your water?
So we have two devices, I guess. Both are life straws. One screws into the water bottle. So you can put, you just fill up from a stream, you put the filter on, and you can just basically squeeze it and drink it. The other one is a gravity bag, and it's the same idea, but the life straw attaches, and then overnight, you fill the bag with water. Overnight, it'll drip through the filter, and you can, especially for the dogs, I wanted them to have filtered water too. So for bigger quantities like that, we'll do that. So we are definitely filtering that water. I am terrified. Last week I had Lucinda Sprint on, our chemistry instructor, and it seems like lots and lots of tummy troubles come from not filtering your water.
That is correct. I don't know if you've ever watched Naked and Afraid, but that's a lot of times what happens.
I've seen enough of that to be terrified of drinking bad water.
Definitely. So that is a good fear to have. So I'm glad you guys are taking the life straws, because adequate hydration is going to be something that is very key. Whether it be, warm or cold. A lot of times people think, oh, well, it's cooler outside, so I don't need as much water. However, since you're going to be doing such strenuous activities and hiking and on different terrains as well as elevation, your body is going to be exerting a lot of energy. Therefore, you do need to, make sure that you stay adequately hydrated, as well as considering to replenish your electrolytes as needed. So that would be something that I would take into consideration. I don't know if you guys plan on bringing any sports drinks. If it's a time where you are not necessarily exerting enough energy to the point where you are acting or, I guess, achieving the exertion of a high intensity athlete, that would be a time where you would kind of add some water and dilute your sports drink, but that is something that will help also with replenishing your electrolytes that you are losing.
Okay,
so that's a
good tip. I honestly hadn't kind of considered that. I was thinking, it's walking, right? Water will be fine.
Yeah, but every now and then we get to the point where, there's a sodium and potassium imbalance. Therefore, that's wwhere those electrolytes come into play.
No, that's a good tip. Yeah, I really hadn't considered that.
And this is definitely not a plug for Gatorade, but I am biased because I did go to the University of Florida and Thomas Nelson. We're the Gators as well. So please take some Gatorade with you.
Maybe I'll work a little Gatorade powder in my pack. How about that?
Right. That would be awesome. So that's something to definitely take into consideration with that. And then just watching for the progression. As far as cold-related type emergencies, so you do want to take into consideration if the climate does change as you continue to travel up higher altitude, just making sure that you have proper clothing, so that way you are warm if you need to be warm, because the nights get a little cooler. Yes. So you do want to have adequate clothing for that, so that way you're not falling into the risk of hypothermia or even frostbite.
Okay. And I'm going to go with the layers. Like, I have been to Columbia. I have, outfitted out, but I'm going to go with the layers. So I think I have lots of stuff that I can, well, not lots of stuff. I have like 2 outfits. That's about all I can fit in my pack, but things that I can take on and off and kind of layer. And that's kind of the direction I'm headed.
Awesome. And then, so, the main factors of your body temperature regulation would be the air temperature, the humidity, and the wind. So definitely having the clothing is something that will help.
Okay, is that truth or myth about like 70% of the heat is lost through your head? Right? Do I need a hat?
Yes, please have a hat.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
do. And so with that, sometimes it depends on people as well, just kind of how your body regulates itself. But yes, making sure that you have on some kind of hat and something on your feet as
So
well.
I was really thinking about this because we've practiced and we've done some hikes this summer. And what I really have found is if you're like, you got to protect those feet and legs at all costs.
Yes.
Like, I mean, every step you take, it can either be like blissful and you can enjoy the walk, or it can be absolutely miserable with every single step.
Exactly. And I'm so glad that's why you said you broke in your shoes already, because you do not want to end up with blisters.
Yes, I did. Are you a little proud of me? I did break in my shoes.
I'm actually a lot of proud of you, not a little. That's a lot, because a lot of
I
people
did not want to be the person that goes out there in like new boots and has, blisters, and like they make it a day on the trail and then they're home.
Right. And see, that's the thing. A lot of people don't think about that part.
Yeah, I definitely did that. And I experimented a little bit with like insoles. Like I get how important your feet are. Like I think I really, really get.
Very good.
Yes,
Very,
yes.
very
I am. Okay, so look, not only are they very cute though, I also have practiced with, I have like, long like hiking capris, which are fine. But I have to say, I really, and maybe the science behind this, I really like hiking in like shorts and compression socks. They're like knee-high compression socks, and they just make your legs, I guess there's copper in there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, really helps. And they're also very cute.
Well, see, and the science behind that is helping with the blood flow in your circulation. So that's why they really help a lot. So that's very, very good.
Okay, which makes sense. And people wear, I know, like people wear them on planes or after surgery or something like that. But I'm telling you, they made a world of difference.
Awesome.
Okay.
Very, very good. Do you have any other questions regarding first aid and safety for me?
I don't think so. I feel like I'm trained up a little bit though. I'm going to add some powdered Gatorade to my pack. That seems worth so Valerie's got me bringing a journal. You've got me bringing some powdered Gatorade. Michelle has allowed me to have some Nutella. So I feel like I got three good things out of you guys today.
That sounds like a win. I'm not a Nutella fan, but other than that, that does sound like a win.
Personally or professionally?
Personally.
Okay, personally. Whew. Okay. So you just don't prefer it. Okay.
Yeah, the texture. I'm one of those people.
Really? So you'd go peanut butter over Nutella?
I don't eat peanut butter either.
Oh my God. Okay, so what would be let me ask you this. Here's one for all of you. What's your splurge item? Let's imagine you're me and you're coming out on the trail with me. Give me your one splurge item you're going to put in your pack. I will tell you that last week, the splurge items were a pillow, which I completely copied and ordered a pillow. And what was the other one? Oh, now I can't remember it. It was a pillow and a good playlist. Those are the splurge items last week. So this week you get one like luxury splurge item. What are you going to bring? Megan, what are you bringing?
See, you took it with the whole playlist.
Oh, really?
The life, right? But honestly, the Life Straw is what would really get me.
Okay.
That my OCD kicks in.
That's your splurge item. That's very practical.
Oh, I know, but my OCD kicks in, so that's one of those things. Maybe some insect repellent would be another splurge.
Oh my gosh, you're so not fun. That is definitely. I'm packing that. I'm 100% packing that.
Yeah, I'm a glamper, so the pillow and comfortable sheets and stuff. I actually, when I taught K through 8, we go camping in the woods. Camp Triple C, I believe. And they had me as a chaperone, and they were laughing at me because I had my air mattress and my full comforter and a pillow.
You're so cute.
I'm that person. But with the whole Life Straw, you had me a Life Straw, so I'll be practical since I can't carry all that stuff. But as long as I have my Life Straw and can drink water, I'm good.
You're good. Okay.
Maybe some trail mix without raisins. I
don't like raisins either. I'm gonna pass. I'd rather have like craisins than raisins.
Exactly, and so that would be my thing. Okay. I'm a vegetarian, so I understand with how you were saying the whole mainly vegetables, so you don't know how you're going to deal, but
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. I am a little worried about that. I feel like I'm going to crave vegetables, but they do have some freeze-dried options. I got to investigate that because I really feel like my body is going to want some fruits and vegetables.
I agree. Yep.
All right. How about, is Valerie still on? Valerie, give me your splurge item.
My splurge item any day of the week is a peanut M&M. So
M&Ms.
I would have some peanut M&Ms somewhere. In addition to the things that you said, the playlist for sure. And if, we're looking on the practical side, I would have to have a pretty pen to write in my journal.
Like pretty, like the pen is pretty, or like a pretty color?
Yes, any of the above. Like, is it going to make me laugh when I see it? Does it light up when I write it? Is it very elegant? Just whatever mood I would be.
That is so funny. And like the pens laying around my house are like, what I accidentally took from the bank 4 years ago. Like, I don't even think about that.
Yeah, I think that would inspire me to write more.
I love that fills your soul, though.
Like, yeah. So pens, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. Okay, Michelle Alexander, give me your splurge item.
Well, Megan sort of mentioned it, but it would totally be an air mattress but I know that is entirely unreasonable on a trip like this.
Okay, Michelle, I have to disagree with you. So they have sleep pads and mine is inflatable. So it's not like, and it doesn't look like an aero bed, believe me, like not at all. It's a very thin air mattress that I will inflate every day, but I just feel like I'm not sleeping like directly on the ground. Like, forget
Well,
it.
exactly. And getting back to what Valerie's talking about, how the importance of sleep. I do not sleep well on the ground. So I would have to have something comfy. And if I couldn't take that, then it would definitely be my stash of chocolate, like my Hershey's dark chocolate, my Junior Mints, any kind of stash of chocolate that I just need for a pick-me-up.
Okay. All right. Look, the nutritionist is giving me permission. Michelle's going to come. I was joking with her that Michelle's going to come out there and, like, first of all, she better not just bring me bananas, but she's going to be like chasing me through the woods for Three Musketeers. Like, I am going to have some good stuff. And so we'll see what the nutritionist says about that.
That's right.
Well, ladies, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I am going to try to make you all proud. I hope you think about it. Megan, Valerie, Michelle, of course, you're all invited to come out and hike for a day or 2 days, or not at all. If you're Valerie Burge-Hall, you don't have to come. You can just root for me from Hampton, Virginia. That would be fine too. And I'll try to do my best. I'm going to take everything I learned today and try to apply that and try to make you guys proud. And we're going to try to make it. We're going to try to make it from Damascus to Front Royal. So that's the plan. And I'll keep you posted all along the way and all along the trip so you can kind of cheer with me.
Sounds good. We're looking forward to hearing your updates and seeing you on the trail, hopefully.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Did that record
Mm-hmm.
on here?
No.
Okay. Oh.